All right, let's go. Hey guys, it's Jaden. Welcome back to my... Can you not do that though?
Do what?
Stop smiling at me.
Well, you just got so much energy going on. I'm trying to match it.
Well, I'll keep this in. Hey guys. Hey guys, it's Jaden. Welcome back to...
Hey guys, it's Jaden Bradley here.
Okay, fuck off. This is my video. Hey guys, it's Jaden. Welcome back. Today we're talking about Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode... What are we on? I think we're on Episode 11.
Yeah.
It's called Su'Kal. And honestly, because I have Nathan here, this is my friend Nathan, my bestie. I'm not really going to recap this episode. I know I should, but I'm not going to because a lot of shit happened. And I'm just not... I'm not in the space, the mental space, to really give it to y'all and sit down and really re-edit this entire episode and talk about it. So, honestly, thoughts so far. What was your opinion? What was your whole thing going forward?
Well, thank you for having me on your show.
Shut up.
So my thoughts is this episode had a lot going on. I personally feel like it was good. I feel like it had good aspects to it. I am glad that the Emerald Chain was not the cause of the burn, or the idea of, like, I know a theory is floating around, like the burn is just really short from Burnham, which I'm glad it wasn't that. But I also think I don't know. I think we need to see where the season goes with the actual cause of the burn, and this connection to the planet and the child's connection to the planet before I can fully judge it. But I do feel like, I guess me personally would have rather been a natural phenomenon or something like that. But I'm open to see where this goes.
Yeah, I just think that the episode as a whole, it was doing too much for me, and I'm just more, it's like one of those things, I'm just left in awe of, like, everything that's really happened so far. I think that, I know I haven't really said much. That wasn't very descriptive. I just think that I kind of agree. I think I really just need to see how the season's going to end up, because this is so far from what I was initially thinking was going to happen. And I think that with Burnham and Booker kind of being on their own, trying to find their way back to the Federation, that's going to be interesting in itself. It just kind of sucks because, like, I get why Osira wants to do the things that she wants to do. And I said earlier on that Osira was going to be the big bad for the season. And I told y'all in the beginning, I said, I don't know who this girl is, but she's obviously going to be the problem. And I just... my head is all over the place. Because I'm just like, I really don't want the Federation to die, but at this point, honestly, like, it is what it is. However, I'm thinking, though, if they are able to get Su'Kal out of the maelstrom, that is, whatever the fuck that is, then...
Wrong franchise. Maelstrom is storms.
Maelstrom also means, like, storm,
yeah.
like in the middle.
This is the Kessel Run he's about to do to get off that planet.
Anyway, so like I was saying, like the shits, since Su'Kal is basically stuck inside that planet, I think that him getting Su'Kal off that planet, though, does kind of stop the issue of the burn, and having a planet full of dilithium also basically kind of refills the storages.
Well, if you notice, Osiris never noticed, as far as we know, that planet was filled with dilithium.
Yes.
She was more interested in the spore drive, nor did she care why anyone was on that planet. I mean, Tilly should have just jumped away completely. There's no point in jumping on the other side of the nebula when you can't cloak or anything like that. Also, I guess the treaty, which just makes sense because the Romulans now are friends with the Vulcans. They live together. I guess the treaty is no more, and I'm wishing they would have used the cloak a lot earlier in this season. Would have made sense. But
it just, I don't know, I'm just kind of disappointed, right? Disappointed in the sense of being like, why would they put so much crap into one episode, right?
What do you feel about the cause of the burn? Do you like that cause? What were you kind of picturing it to be in your mind?
I don't think I've had any thought. I just think, like, it was really just like, what the fuck this is? Like, what would cause a chain reaction? But I wish they would have upset Su'Kal a little bit more, and we wouldn't have the issue that we did. Granted, probably.
Well, they would have destroyed the Discovery too.
Now, you got to in order to make a smoothie, you got to cut up a couple fruit. So
I was worried when they said, "Oh, we're seeing Federation ship coming for. I'm like, oh man, I feel like
It's
we're gonna
obviously not.
we're gonna get a you know, a 11th hour twist of the Federation being evil, which I know certain people are concerned about.
Wow.
But I'm not. I think Admiral Vance is really living up to his reputation as a true Starfleet officer.
One of the very few, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, most admirals are not good people, but he's out here, you know, breaking the mold, and I think that I mean, obviously he's got a lot going on, and he's not perfect because, you know, he's dealing with a shitstorm on his own. But I mean, he's doing the best he can, and he's, you know, I think he's in the situation that he is in. As far as we know, I mean, obviously things could change, but it seems like as far as we know, he's really exemplary, and he, you know, the idea of the Federation is still in the bedrock for the most part.
Right. I, though, am just at this point of like, where does it go from here? Like, and does Vance blame Discovery? Does Vance blame Saru and crew for basically getting caught by Osiro? And I don't think he really can.
Well, Saru has been, no offense, but Discovery crew has been kind of fucking with some shit this whole season, and Vance has been pretty understanding for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think that he has a good understanding of what it means. I think the thing I like about Vance as a character is he's kind of harkened back to the old days of Star Trek when,
Idealism.
you know, idealism. And you look at the original series, and Kirk would have, you know, risked the whole galaxy to save one member of his crew. And I mean, like, you do have the idea of the needs of the one, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole point of you know, and Vance says it a couple episodes ago, or, you know, right when they go back to the Terra Firma arc, and, you know, he did say, you know, if you can't save one member of your crew will never trust you again. So I think that ideology is instilled still in the Federation. I think that they just, or so, I mean, obviously the Federation can't deal with the Orion Syndicate. I mean, basically just a hyped up Orion Syndicate, which was never really a big deal previous. I mean, it was a big deal, but it wasn't like as serious as it is now. Yeah. I mean, it obviously caused a lot of problems in Enterprise and the TOS era, but I mean, like, by the time of TNG, it was really, you know, easy peasy.
I don't know. I just here's the thing: Emerald Chain they're the big bad. They're the people that we're gonna have to deal with going forward. What happens if, like, they obviously are going to beat the Emerald Chain, but I don't think they're going to beat the Emerald Chain without some sacrifices. And I think possibly one of those sacrifices means cause another burn. Because I don't, just being honest, I don't think they can really beat the Emerald Chain without causing another burn.
So for me, I think I do like how the Emerald Chain is it does make sense for me that something like the Orion Syndicate would grow, especially if we look in the history of this Federation, looking back from, you know, 1,000 years in the future, essentially, you look and you see, okay, well, the Romulans aren't, you know, as far as we know, the Romulans ceased to be a threat after a while because they joined the Vulcans. We have no idea what's going on with the Klingons. I mean, they were friends in the TNG era. We have not seen a single Klingon since last season. But it does make sense that the Orion Syndicate did grow in that time, because they were really the biggest criminal organization that wasn't like an empire, wasn't like a, you know, like some, you know, like they're not warriors, they're just criminals. And in any situation, in any real live situation too, the whole, if, you know, infrastructure collapsed, obviously criminal empires would, you know, grow. And I like that idea that they went with that this season.
Agreed. So here's my thing. I think that going back into the show, something that could have been really important in the prior episodes, but I think we were focused too much on like Giorgio and like her comings and goings. But like Saru could have mentioned that she was pregnant the entire time. Why the hell didn't he talk about
Saru and everyone think this lady died a horrible, which she did, but you know, he was just excluding the fact, oh, she was pregnant and her child probably also suffered a horrific death.
That'd have been nice to know. And I get the whole thing from Saru not understanding or knowing or ever seeing somebody grow past a certain age, because, you know, he comes from a hunted situation. And he's basically a big reason as to why his planet was able to shift, because one, he's the first, I believe, Kelpian Starfleet officer, but at the same time, he, you know, Varaha. I'm having trouble saying that word. But my point is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Cut the things off, call it a day. So, I don't know. It's just really one of those things of like, why couldn't he have just said something earlier that would have been really helpful? Also, I kind of find it funny how, like, in general, that Sukal is a Kelpian and he's like the cause of the burn because, like, the newest species to add to the Star Trek mythos is now, like, somehow the most psychic being of the world, tuned in.
Well, no,
basically one of the founders.
I guess he's like connected into the genetics of.
He's a founder.
Yeah.
He's basically a founder now.
Yeah. Well, I personally, for me, I think that this show would have benefited by delving more into Kelpian culture, like they did with the Bajorans and TNG and Deep Space Nine.
I would not have wanted a show that was just stuck in one particular place. I said that initially.
But they did have great episodes of TNG that delved into Bajoran culture that brought us that laid the bedwork at least for DS9.
Yeah, but my issue is that like I personally just do not want that type of show. Also, with the way TV is made now, we're not going to ever.
Well, you can still do
that
that in a serialized setting. It's just you have more. We only had how many episodes do we really have about Kelpie before this season? 1, 2,
1.
Yeah, 1. I'm saying if you had added 2 or 3 more,
But it would not have. It wouldn't have sufficed for like the overall narrative of everything else if we would have done that. Like my whole thing is saying is that like the thing why DS9, I guess, in Bajorans and all that crap kind of worked was because one, DS9 was right above Bajor, and them going to other planets. If we're being completely honest about DS9, half the time when they were going to other planets, they were just going to fight other things. At first they were exploring, but then they started just fighting, or they got captured, or they were doing some mission. After they became into war, it became a thing of like the only reason why we're going to these other planets is because of war reasons. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why we're dealing with like terrorists, war reasons. So it really wasn't a thing of exploratory like anything. I think like Kaminar as a whole, like I guess the conversation on Kaminar becoming a warp capable society, but I don't think it would have mattered because it would have taken them still 100 years to get up to the point where everyone else was in the first place.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so it would not have been an interesting.
I think that, the good part about this is, I guess, is where I'm coming from. When you look at things like TNG, they set up the whole Cardassian arc, and Cardassians obviously were a major part of TNG, but they became the biggest part of DS9 outside of the Dominion. And I think that for me personally, I think that it would have been like you could have had a function of like an Ensign Row almost, or even use Saru in that capacity, because Ensign Row was kind of the eyes and ears into the into the Bajoran suppression, you know, and it kind of gave more depth into the Cardassian Bajoran conflict. And I think and she was only in like 3 or 4 episodes, and I think we could have done more.
But we got that through Saru.
Yeah, we got that, but we didn't see. We don't know where the Kelpians are just here now, all of a sudden blowing up.
The way that the show is structured, it would not have it would not have benefited more if it didn't have like those random tidbits, because it really did have those random tidbits. We got those random exposition pieces about like Saru and about Kaminar. We had that conversation when we finally went to Kaminar. It was a whole situation. We had a whole episode on him.
I do like the Kelpians.
I think they're interesting, but they were slaves. Let's just be honest here.
No, I do think that makes them interesting, and the whole idea of overcoming fear, and you know, and you learn in this episode that fear is just the bedrock of their foundation.
Exactly, and then like you look at the whole thing is like his mother, Sukal's mother basically programmed, Dr. Isa basically programmed the whole entire ship to basically put him through so he could go through Varaha, because that was really the whole point.
Yeah.
So he could actually get over all this crap and move on. Obviously, mistakes were made. That's just the truth. But at the same time, he's not willing to face that. Plus, he's part dilithium. So, like, you know, like, what's really happening here? And that's just something I don't think she could have saw coming, or anyone could have saw coming. I think it's pretty funny to think about, like, as everyone was dying, all of a sudden, the baby basically just screams and the whole universe explodes.
Yeah, everyone wants their kid to be special, but they don't necessarily want it to be a cosmic entity.
Like put that bitch in a cage. I'm sorry, we don't need that. Another big tidbit of this episode was Tilly being basically in control of Khan. And at this point, I'm gonna be honest, I like Tilly. He doesn't like Tilly. I don't care what his feelings are. This is my channel. This is a Tilly
I
stand.
never said
You don't like Tilly.
My opinion on Tilly is I think she'd be better in doses than she is. Like I felt like they used they're using Hugh a lot more this season, and I like
they're literally just promoting the main core cast more.
No, I agree, which I like about this season a lot. But I think it would have been better if he would have been more of a central focus than Tilly is, because Tilly works better as a.
He literally is a central focus in every episode.
This season, but not of previous.
I mean, they literally went back in season 2. They literally went through a whole situation of like, oh, we gotta bring Hugh back. They went through a whole thing of like, let's bring him back to life. The first season was like, oh, Hugh.
But he was dead for half of that.
He was dead for 6 episodes. Well, he was dead for like 8 or 9 because you count season 2.
Previously, he wasn't a major player.
But I just told you my whole thing of like, I didn't think Stamets was rude until like this season. So obviously some things have.
Stamets was originally rude. For clarification, he never understood Stamets was rude up until this season. And then looking back, he's realizing Stamets was really rude, and now he's mellowing out slowly over 3 seasons.
I was like, what's happening here? Like, why is he still a dickhead? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I guess he
was always a dickhead.
Oh, well, surprise to me, honestly, because I did not see that coming. I was just like, why is everyone treating him this way? Something I really do appreciate from this episode is really seeing like Stamets and Culber be the daddies that they are to Adira Tal, because they deserve the world, and all of them. And when I say they, I mean literally all 3 of them, but plus you get what I'm saying. Plus the Westlums. So the last big thing that was really interesting from this entire episode, I would say, is the hollow element of it all, because we got to see some Bajoran, we got to see Saru as a human, we got to see Burnham as a Trill, which honestly, let's be honest here, Bajoran and Trill aren't really that different. You know, you just put some spots on him and give him a nose and a ring. But Saru, not in his makeup, surprise. That man is lanky. That man is long. That man is tall. And I'm not having nothing else to say. My case rests. And I don't know. I really enjoyed this episode. I think that going forward, though, we're obviously gonna have to fight Emerald Chain. Mm-hmm. We're obviously going to have Burnham save the day, because what would Star Trek be if it ended on a sad note? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just want to know what's gonna happen next week. Like, I'm just thinking already personally about me editing all these videos, because if you haven't noticed, I have been booming. I have been putting out the content. By the way, you should totally check out my videos on The Expanse. Doing that every week on Amazon Prime Video. But yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much the video today. I don't really have any other thoughts. I have a couple, but like, they're probably not for television or the internet. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate y'all. And this is Nathan.
Thank you.
Also, we'd love to have a conversation below. Talk to you later. Bye.